Do you believe that someone who comes from an unconventional childhood can make a significant impact in the world? I grew up on 137 acres in northern Pennsylvania with my one younger sister, Shell. My parents built their own house. I mean, they built their own house. Each nail, stone, and 2x4 was touched by one or both of them. I guess I'd call my dad a pioneer. He always had these big ideas brewing, large gardens, and a menagerie of farm animals just grazing and wandering around, with lots and lots of work to be done. My mom loves to laugh, and she always brought the comical relief and sunny side to any situation. She also provided the constant flow of unconditional love, which was a very stable environment. Neither of my parents had a college degree. I think it's important now to list all the things I was not back then. I was not the most popular girl in school. I was definitely not the prettiest. I was not an A or even a B student. I was not starting off first string on a basketball team. I was a tough, confused girl, lost in a world that had a lot to figure out. I didn't come from an affluent family, so there were no new cars parked in the driveway. Actually, our driveway was 1/4 mile long and dirt. There were no lavish birthday parties to plan, no designer clothes to wear. Gosh, how I wish for those Jordache jeans. And no piles of toys under a Christmas tree. My parents were blue-collar workers who worked very hard to make ends meet. My sister and I are what you'd call latchkey kids because both of our parents had to work. So we spent many hours after school in summers just wandering around barefoot under that deep blue sky, doing chores, exploring, and dreaming of that great big world out there waiting for us. After high school, the next 10 years were a bit of a roller coaster for me. I had a lot to figure out with my life. The one thing I did know is that I did not want to be stuck in that small town going nowhere. Who am I? Isn't that a complicated question? It sure was for me. What do I want to do with my life? What are my strengths? These are all the things that were floating around in my head for those 10 years. The one thing I did know is that if I wanted the most choices in life, I needed a college degree. So fast forward, it's 1999, and I have made significant progress. I have a degree from Fordham University in business. I'm excelling at my sales career. I have a family that's healthy and happy, life is good, and we have just moved to sunny San Diego. About 3 months after our move to San Diego, my husband and I happened to be watching a 2020 Undercover about a Romanian orphanage. We did not discuss the program before going to sleep that night. But the next morning, the images of all those beautiful children stuck in that joyless, dark system haunted and hijacked my mind. Ironically, before that moment, I had never thought about adoption. So in April 2002, we met our cheerful and energetic son, Greg, for the first time in a cold, loveless room in the Ukraine. Greg looked like an 18-month-old in size, even though he was 3.5. His body was thin and gaunt. He had these self-inflicted dig marks all over his cheeks and his ears, most likely from stress. His eyes were crossed because of poor vision. And we were told he would never have had glasses because they would have just broke. What I remember most about Greg was that somehow, every time, every day we would come and visit him, he'd always be smiling in that damp, dark place. So we get Greg home to our US pediatrician, and we find out that Greg is actually in the 5th percentile on height and weight. Nutrition is a freaking very urgent matter. Our problem is that Greg does not like to eat. And he specifically doesn't like to eat protein because he's so hard for him to chew and swallow. So I'm racking my brain trying to come up with this vegan source of protein that's yummy, superfood, that he will eat. One day, I get this great idea. I'm gonna take my childhood favorite, which is peanut butter, and add a bunch of different nuts and seeds, because every nut and seed has different vitamins and minerals. And I'm gonna whip it up in my food processor and put it on a sliced banana, because Greg actually loved bananas. And voila, he loved it, he ate it. So my mixed nut and seed butter creation was born. Combining love and the necessity to solve a problem makes you a very powerful force in the world. In January 2005, we went back to the Ukraine to adopt our second beautiful boy. The urge to want to continue to adopt was great because we now understood the plight of all the children stuck in the Ukrainian system, as well as the plight of children worldwide. The Ukrainian orphanages back then were actually funded by the government. And at 14 years old, the children would be tapped out of the system, out on the streets, uneducated, no glasses, and no place to live. Those facts alone could keep us up at night. Think about this. It is truly by luck where we are all born in this great big world. It's pure luck. In 2008, I took a leap of faith, quit my full-time job to start a nut butter company. My parents thought I was crazy. Luckily, they didn't say anything but words of encouragement. At the same time that I launched my business, I co-founded a nonprofit 501c3 called Project Left Behind. Project Left Behind is for all the children we could not adopt. One thing I love most about Project Left Behind is that 100% of the donations go to the children, meaning there's no overhead. So there's no salaries or travel expenses that were taken from the donations. 100% go to the kids for food, clothing, shelter, and of course, education. The other thing that was super important to me is I actually wanted to build a long-lasting relationship with these children's home. And I wanted to be able to vet them out, make sure the money's really going to the kids. I've been all over the world. I've been to Thailand and India and Nepal, and I've been to Guatemala, Panama, and Peru. What I enjoy most is actually getting dirty, painting walls, building stone floors, and just cooking with the kids. I love to cook, and so we make this big meal always. And this all stems from my childhood on those 137 acres. In 2009, I went to visit a children's home in Kathmandu, Nepal. I met 50 charming and sweet children. And one of my fondest memories was actually walking them to school in a long line. And it was a treat for them because other children going to the same school had their parents bringing them. So it's my last day there. I'm walking the children in a very long line, and I can hear this little girl softly crying behind me. I found out later that she was crying because she was wearing a pair of school shoes with a broken strap. I'm a mom, and that broke my heart. This was the first project that Project Left Behind supported. We bought all 50 children's school shoes, and we've done it for the last 9 years. And then you have that beautiful brown-eyed boy behind me, who I met 4 years ago in the Sacred Valley of Peru. Emerson was just 14 years old back then. I am so excited to tell you because this has been a dream. Project Left Behind is sending Emerson to college this fall, and he wants to be a doctor. Education is the one biggest force that can stop the cycle and change a child's future and generations to come. I have found my passion and purpose in life through adopting 2 amazing boys from the Ukraine. I have found the things that I was the most embarrassed about from my childhood are actually the things that have made me the most successful. How funny is that? I truly believe we are all here for a reason. I truly believe we are all here for a reason, that we can make a difference, that we can change the world. We can all make a difference. Every action, no matter how small, has an impact on the world. It's just a fact. It's either a positive impact or a negative impact. Imagine if each one of us just chose one thing that was important to us, that spoke to our hearts, and we decided to dedicate our lives to doing as much as possible to make it better. I truly believe that one person can make a difference. I urge all of you to look in your own backyard. What topic makes you want to shout from the rooftops for change? What topic are you the most passionate about? What I've learned thus far in my most colorful life is we are all beautifully unique, both inside and out, and this creates change because of our different perspectives and journeys in life. I can't imagine my life without my boys. Like, I really can't. I can't imagine my life without Project Left Behind. We all have the power to create change in the world for the next generation. There is a warrior in each one of us. There is strength from our childhood experiences. And I truly believe we are all vessels of love. We can definitely change the world. We should never settle, never give up, never stop standing up for what we believe is just and right. I'm just an ordinary woman trying to spread love and hope in this world. But I urge all of you to please go out, live like you mean it, because the world is yours and ours. Thank you.